Warren, thanks very much for being with us.
Top of the morning.
And congratulations. This is a massive project, a real lifetime's work. How did you start?
I started in the shower. My father was a great shower singer, and I remember growing up with my whole family who sang. Everybody seemed to play the piano. It was most of that, bye-bye birdie sort of stuff. But my father knew quite a lot of Irishy Australian songs and ditties. And I remember one particular thing that always made me laugh is that it was a standing joke. I'd come past the bathroom when he was in there having a shower, and I'd bang on the door, and he'd go, bang, 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 and he'd go, who's that knocking at the door? If it's Billy Hughes and his wife, we will chase them with a knife, and they won't come knocking anymore.
So I guess you had to be careful. Any kind of loose words your dad, and off he'd go into song.
Oh, yeah, no, he's great. And if he'd had a couple of beers, which he did on Fridays, it was about the only time he really had a couple of beers, he'd come home and he'd sing naughtier sort of songs.
Well, we may get to those. Let's see. Well, the 200 tracks on this album, how did you track them down? How hard was it to collect it all?
It's a great slice of my life, obviously, 40 years. I fell into it. I was fascinated in the early 60s by the international interest in folk music, and I was hearing people singing American songs, Irish songs, Scottish songs, and I was thinking, where are the Australian songs? And that led me to look around and see what was happening. I joined people like the Bush Music Club and so forth, and I became very passionate about it, obviously. And then in 1971, I started going around collecting them, actively collecting, and I now realise that I was the tail end of that situation where I could actually go and record people who'd been born in the 19th century. And a lot of those songs came from that period. I've got Buckley's chance these days, really, of going and finding a really good traditional bush singer that's learnt them through the oral tradition. So I do a lot of work with more contemporary folklore and folk songs, and obviously I go through early newspapers and magazines.
They really are history put to music, aren't they? I mean, I know you refer to them sometimes as emotional time capsules.
Well, I think they are. And look, what I've done in this series, 205 items, I've really tracked Australian history through various historical signposts and taking it from rare convict ballads that had never been recorded before right through to songs about football.
So you consciously did that? You didn't just collect the best 200 songs that you'd been given. You really thought, okay, we need some from this period, some bawdy ones, some love songs.
Fran, what I wanted to do was prove and give a resource that showed Australia's folk song swag is more than songs about sheep, and two cows.
I was going to say, we talk about bush ballads, don't we? Talk
Yes.
about bush music.
Yes.
This is not just bush music.
No, I'm a city slicker. I was born and bred in Paddington. And so there's quite a lot of songs about early Australian politicians like Billy Hughes and Jack Lang. And there's quite a lot of songs about things like the Australian attitude to romance or our passion for sport. I mean, I found a song about Dally Messenger, who was, considered the father of football. Now, who would have thought there would have been a song about Messenger? But there was.
Is it catchy?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. No, I'm not going to sing that one to you, but it's called When Daly Caught the Ball or Kicked the Goal. That's what it's called.
When Daly Kicked the Goal. Fantastic. You did, as I mentioned, you collected from hundreds of men and women right around the country. You described Joe Watson as having, quote, the most important effect on my work as a folklorist and also as a singer and storyteller. What was it that Joe taught you?
Well, he was 92 years old. He lived in Caringbah. He'd been a picture showman, showing magic lantern slides around the bush. And I was recording his life as a magic lantern showman. And I'd been there 2 days recording the stories. And he was describing what happened during the Magic Lantern show. And his partner, who had died many years ago, used to sing a song. And I said to Joe, what sort of song? And he said, well, there was a series on Ned Kelly. And I said, do you remember any of the words? And Joe went, oh, Paddy dear, and did you hear the news that's going round? On the head of bold Ned Kelly, they've placed £1,000. And he stopped and he looked at me and he said, like that? And I said, yes. You don't happen to know the tune, do you? And he sang me 16 verses straight through. He was 92 years old. And I said, I didn't know you could sing. He said, I can't sing. I'm just a bushman.
They don't make Australians like that anymore, do they? They don't make songs like this anymore. Is this really the last gasp, the last chance to get this?
Well, there are three areas of active folk song that I know that's still existing. That's kids' playground songs. You know, kids are making up playground ditties all the time. Secondly is the bawdy tradition, and thirdly a little political ditties. Like, just a quick example, there was one about when Bob Hawke went in, that somebody used an old Irish tune. They went, as I was walking past the lodge, hurroo, hurroo, I saw a most peculiar dodge, hurroo, hurroo. Bob Hawke came by, and I swear it's true, he went in red and he came out blue, and the Liberals didn't know what to do. Oh, Bobby, I hardly knew ya.
So we haven't lost it. Well, it's time for us to go. We've been playing a few tracks all week from your set. It's fantastic. I think you've chosen the one we're going to go out on today.
Yeah, it's a parody of Tara La Boomdier, and it's a song for the time. Shows you how these old songs can be relevant today, because it's about the boom times of the gold rush in the 1860s and the crash in 1870.
Warren, it's great talking to you. Great listening to you.
Thank you.
Here's Tara La Boomdier.
We're told there's no such word as fail. The banks have told a different tale, and everywhere there's land for sale. The questions, will we stand the gale? And who for us will stand our bail? Our moneyed men are all in jail, diamond cracking, so they say, and singing Tara Boomdier, Tara La 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 Boomdier.